back on the Zero Hour. In this final segment, we'll be talking a little bit about net neutrality. Now, net neutrality is one of those terms that a lot of people still don't seem to understand. What it really means is, are you going to have a chance to access the internet as we've always known it? Are you going to have a chance without paying extra money or without your provider, your internet web page, whatever site you happen to go to, paying extra money? Are you going to be able to see what you want to see? And are you going to be able to see it at the speed with which you want to see it? Now, a couple quick thoughts on that. One is, of course, the internet was built, that technology was created at government expense, which should create a certain moral obligation on the part of those attempting to charge for it. Two, we need smart reporters and analysts talking about it, and one of them is joining us, Ryan Grim, who is a senior editor with the Huffington Post, Washington bureau chief, and has been covering this topic, has an article that will be out on Monday updating us on the issue of net neutrality. Ryan, are you with us?
I'm with you, RJ.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about what we are going to learn when we read your piece on Monday morning.
So all of the focus is on the chairman of the FCC. This guy, Chairman Wheeler, who's probably won't surprise people. He's a former lobbyist for the cable and the wireless industry. He's a guy in his late 60s whose entire kind of experience with the internet has been to perceive it kind of as a business opportunity for these various players, and so he put out in the spring a proposal for a new rule that would really destroy net neutrality, and very curiously he followed that up by saying that he had not done so. It was quite strange. It was. And from a lot of the people I spoke to, they think that it's quite possible that he genuinely does believe that his rule protects net neutrality, while in fact the letter of it creates a fast lane that would allow providers to charge for, which destroys net neutrality. On a lot of levels, this is complicated stuff, but in that sense, it's rather simple. So it's just strange where he's coming from, and so all of the focus has been on this guy. And he has said he's open to revisions for the final rule that is put out in the fall. And the question has been, can he be pressured into writing a stronger rule, et cetera, et cetera. My story looks past him and says perhaps he's a lost cause for net neutrality advocates, and it instead looks at the two other Democratic chairmen who are on this committee, because the Republicans are almost guaranteed to vote against whatever Tom Wheeler comes up with, and that means that Wheeler needs the votes of the two women who are the other two commissioners, and that gives them outsized leverage that commissioners don't normally have on a regulatory level, because their votes are usually assumed. It's assumed to be a fairly partisan process, and they'll go along with the commissioner. But that very well might not be the case here, and if they don't go along with him, then he cannot gut net neutrality.
So the idea of your piece is to focus attention on these other two Democratic commissioners, to make them, in effect, a firewall so Wheeler can't do what he wants to do, and force him to propose something that will get past them, which presumably would be something that protects net neutrality, if they can be persuaded to take that position.
That's exactly right. I mean, nothing can get done without them unless he writes something that the two Republicans are willing to go for, which is unlikely that he would go so far as to take that path, especially with the president recently kind of chiding the FCC and speaking publicly kind of against their rule, and saying that there shouldn't be a fast lane that you can charge people to use. And these two people, these two women on the commission, are both people that want to have political futures, and this will wind up being kind of the highest profile move that they have made in their political lives, and they're both interesting figures in their own right. One of them is Mignon Clyburn, who, as the name suggests, is the daughter of Jim Clyburn, and she's always been a strong public advocate of net neutrality, probably the strongest on the commission, and so the advocates really do hope and expect that she'll use her influence to push Wheeler in a more progressive direction. And the other is Jessica Rosenworcel, who's a former Hill staffer, very politically savvy and politically minded staffer, who's everyone says is extremely smart, understands the policy and the politics better than anybody. She herself made a play to become chairman of the commission, so we don't even have to wonder about what her ambitions are. She rounded up signatures from a couple dozen senators urging the president to make her chair. It didn't happen, but that's clearly where she wants to go. And if she takes part in the dismantling of net neutrality, she understands quite well that she could lose progressive support for an eventual bid to become chairman.
Well, what's the strategy then? So these groups have identified these two folks, these two additional commissioners, as a kind of bulwark against Wheeler and his fast lane idea. There must be some kind of, is it a letter writing strategy, or are people targeting them in some way to pressure them?
Yeah, so Demand Progress is probably the most high-profile, liberal group that works on this issue. Co-founded by Aaron Swartz, and they were in the comment period, and so they've been driving comments on this issue, but and they've been driving them specifically to these Democratic members of the commission, Comcast and Time Warner recently announced that they were putting up $132,000 for a dinner that was going to celebrate Mignon Clyburn, and there was a lot of pushback against that, and they quickly withdrew their sponsorship of the event because of the unseemliness of it, that they would be lavishing all of this money on an event honoring a person who's about to have power over the future of their industry. So that's one signal that that there's power at play here. But it's not. This is not this is not an effort that has a lot of corporate backing on the opposite side. You have the cable companies, the broadband providers, really aggressively working it. But interestingly, the people who you presume would benefit from this and have always been talked about as the big net neutrality advocates, your Google, your Facebook, have not actually been that heavily involved in the fight. So that leaves it to these more just progressive-minded activists.
Well, I would think it makes the political field a little easier for the activists, because people, no matter how much I write criticizing them, nobody listens to me. People still idealize, companies. A lot of people do anyway. Companies like Google and Facebook. If they're basically staying out of this, and it's just the cable companies. Everybody hates the cable companies, so they can't really provide political cover for these commissioners. As you said, that dinner even had to be canceled. So I guess in the minute or two we have left, are activists optimistic that this is going to work? Are they drumming up support? Are they getting the support they wanted?
I think that they think they have a shot at it. They're not resigned to defeat. This is one of the most consequential decisions that's going to be made in Washington in 2014, and they feel like that with the public interest backgrounds of these two commissioners, that they have a real shot at convincing them, especially because they're inclined to be allies in the first place, and all they're trying to do is make the case that, look, this is not only in the best interests of the public, it's also in the best interests of your future political careers.
Well, I think that's a great point, and we're going to have to leave it there. But you also made a very important point, which is this is one of the most important decisions that's going to be made in 2014. It has far-reaching implications. So I encourage people to look for that article. Ryan Grim, Washington bureau chief of the Huffington Post. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you.
I'm Richard R.J. Eskow, and we will be right back after this on the Zero Hour.